All right, let's talk about Jordan Davis. Jordan Davis, the first round pick from 2 years ago, the interior defensive lineman by the Eagles. They've, now spent a lot of draft picks and a lot of cap space on their, defensive line, and it's worked. They have, amazing defensive linemen. But I want to talk about Jordan Davis because I feel like he's kind of gotten lost in the fold of, people talk about Fletcher Cox and Jalen Carter and Hassan Reddick and Josh Sweat and all these guys. Jordan Davis deserves some love as well. You look at his Pro Football Focus page, and it's very impressive. I mean, overall, he's currently the 20th highest graded interior defensive lineman out of 127 eligible players. You see that he's better in the run defense than the pass rush, but he's pretty consistent in both. A lot of times you have guys who are great in one, not so good in the other. That's why he's, 20th best overall, despite not being 20th in either run defense or pass rush, because he's pretty consistent. It adds value either way, and let's talk about the ways he's able to add value. Like this game against Buffalo, I mean, he was just really, quite frankly, dominant at times. So the play like this is a good example. The guard and the tackle are going to be double teaming him, but the guard's eventually going to get off that double team block and try to block someone at the next level. This is a running play, of course, and watch what happens. Right when this play begins, you see how it's the tackle on Davis, and you see how Davis is able to drive him further back. Quite frankly, Davis has already done his job at this point. If you're an Eagles fan, you'll take this, 10 out of 10 times. This is a good situation, good job by Jordan Davis. Now someone else can hopefully, clear stuff up. You've disrupted the play. But watch him also toss that guard to the side, and he's able to help make that tackle right there. Again, we all talk about his run defense, and it's truly remarkable. I mean, one thing I should mention is that you don't see him out there for as many snaps as some other players, but he's also not out there for no snaps either. He is getting, significant playing time out there and really making the most of it, especially in the run defense game. He's amazing there. A play like this is exactly what makes him so special, where the way this is going to work is you have a guard moving over. The right guard is going to go over to block Davis. You might notice, wait a second, Davis is lined up against the center. Well, you're trying to pull the center around towards the offense's right, so you have the guard go over and block him instead. This is something you do from time to time. This is not some crazy harebrained scheme the Bills are coming up with. No, it's a fine strategy. So, okay, for Davis, let's see how well he's able to, counter this. Because again, what's something about Jordan Davis is we all talk about, yes, his size, but also his mobility for that size. And watch how the guard isn't really even able to touch him until this point when he, quite frankly, is just holding on for dear life at this point. Davis gets way by him, which completely disrupts this play. The fullback for this play is going to then try to help out Jordan Davis. And, okay, well, let's see how that goes. Not very well either. He does his best. Davis is able to get through. And while, he didn't actually make the tackle, he kind of cleared out everything else to where Philadelphia was able to come through. And enough other Eagles won their own one-on-one matchups because it's the Eagles defensive line, right? That's what they do. But great stuff from Jordan Davis to disrupt this play. It's another example, too, of why, I tend to not pay too much attention to box score stats. You might look at certain box score stats and say, oh, well, is it really, how good is he? Well, this is the play, doesn't show up on the stat sheet, does show up in a PFF grade, but also shows up on tape, which at the end of the day is the best way to figure out how good a player is. Quite frankly, even his box score stats are still pretty good. 2.5 sacks and 29 combined tackles, given the playing, the slightly lower snap count than some other pass rushers for an interior defensive lineman. You'll certainly take that, but I'm just saying he's better than what those numbers show. In the pass rush game, part of why it's kind of hard to evaluate him is you don't really get to see him with too many one-on-one matchups, right? I mean, he's not the guy that they leave one-on-one. Even, a lot of times when Jalen Carter is on the other side of the field, you're not necessarily leaving him one-on-one. There's a ton of value in someone like this. And, on this play, it's Marlon Tupalup. I'm not sure exactly how you say his name. I apologize, Marlon. But, okay, so it's not like Fletcher Cox or Jalen Carter are on the other side on this play. But you do see it where, he's getting double teamed here. As you see, it's the right strategy for Buffalo. I mean, it works, but basically that's what you kind of have to do when you're playing Jalen Carter is you have to double team him, because if you just try to have one guy block him, especially if you just try to have your center block him, that is not going to work. He's just going to overpower you. You have to have help, which again, doesn't show up in the stat sheet, but does add value to a team. A play like this is also another very good one. It's going to be a play action play, and you see he's going up one-on-one against the left guard for Buffalo. Right off the bat, it looks okay for the Bills guard, but it's still, Jordan Davis finds ways to win even if it doesn't start off great. So, he's still driving the guard back a little bit, but watch what he's going to do from this point. Watch him take a step to the inside, move his right arm around, and he's able to get through. Ball came out before he could get there, but still a good move by Jordan Davis. He finds ways to get through and uses his hands at times to make things happen. Again, it's the NFL. Yes, Jordan Davis is one of the more physically impressive players in the NFL. 336 pounds and can still move very well. We all know it. We get it, right? At the same time, though, you have to be able to use your hands, and he can also use his hands, which is what makes him so effective. And then there's just good old plays like this, just fun plays. I kind of alluded to, well, you can't really put him one-on-one against a center because he'll just overpower the center. Well, let's see what happens when he's one-on-one against a center. This is in the running game. Just watch what happens. I mean, as you see, he's going to, really just overpower him, even gets off and is able to help make that tackle as well. Great stuff there from Jordan Davis. He's a really good player. So, again, currently has 331 snaps on the season. That's probably what's going to get used against him. But, Jalen Carter has 370. Quite frankly, 331, I would say that's pretty good for an interior defensive lineman. That's not someone who, I think we had kind of wondered, is that how many snaps he's just going to give you a season when he was drafted? He's showing, no, he can, give you a lot more than that. He can play more consistently. Fletcher Cox is over 450. There still is a sizable jump between that. So, Jordan Davis isn't Aaron Donald, right? He's not going to be out there every snap. But part of that is just how the Eagles run their defense as well. They don't put anyone out there for every snap, really. I mean, their edge rushers they've gone with more of a traditional situation there with Josh Sweat and Hassan Reddick both getting, a good amount of snaps, and then Brandon Graham being a rotational guy, which how insane is that Brandon Graham is a rotational edge rusher for this team? It's absolutely absurd. You can legitimately make the argument, I think, that Fletcher Cox is their sixth best defensive lineman, because you got Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Josh Sweat, Hassan Reddick, Brandon Graham, and then even Milton Williams is a really good player for them. So there's just so much great stuff going on. It's so easy to, let players get sort of lost a little bit, and especially with, they have another young player who's about to win Defensive Rookie of the Year in Jalen Carter, and rightfully so. I have another video I'm about to record about Jalen Carter. I'm not sure which one I'm going to post first, but if it's not up on the channel now, it will be soon, so be on the lookout for that if you're an Eagles fan. But it's just incredible stuff, what they're able to do and how they're able to, do this so consistently. And for Jordan Davis, I mean, they spent the first-round pick on him, and the question was, is he kind of a one-trick pony? And I think you could still maybe argue, okay, there probably are more complete interior defensive linemen in the league, but they don't need him to go out there and be able to do everything. They just need him to go out there and do what he's good at, and he's not good at what he's doing. He's great at what he's doing, which is why he's been great for the Eagles. So, those are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from ya, and of course, as always, thanks for watching.